Hello, minasan. It's Hisako. I hope you're having a wonderful day or evening. It's actually starting to get into the evening hours here where I am right now. I actually thought I'd do a little video to talk about something I get asked about a lot, which is, hey, where do you get all of your kimono and all of your accessories? So that is a question I get quite a bit on where do you find this stuff? Because it's not something that you just tend to find out at a regular store if you live in an area like I do, like here in Houston, Texas, of all places. There's a lot of different places I go, and there's a lot of different websites that you can check, but primarily the biggest places I like to use are Etsy and eBay. I know it seems like nobody ever uses eBay anymore. I guess that's a really old-timey thing, maybe, or maybe people still use it more frequently, but I'm on eBay a lot. But that is where I go for a lot of items. Kimono, kanzashi, obi, just everything. That is actually where I got my katsura wig, was on eBay from a seller. And this is actually, I've gone over this in a previous video, but this is actually a retired bunken takashimada, which is used for weddings. So not really a true geiko wig, but very, very close, and the price was really good. So I went with this to use for my geisha henshin. But yes, I use Etsy and eBay a lot for all kinds of different stuff that I do in regards to geisha henshin. There's also other websites that I see as well. Those are primarily my main two I go for. But just to kind of share some of those a little bit, talk a little bit about what to find. When it comes to the kimono, because I own many. I think I have like over 30 kimono now that I own. I have like 2 more in my cart that I'm like, oh, I want them. I have a problem. It's so hard for me to say no. Every time you think you're done, you're not. You'll see another one. You're like, oh, I gotta have it. It's like an addiction. So, don't get into kimono. You'll never get just one. You'll only end up with like 30 or more. But anyway, all jokes aside, yes, I get a lot of my kimono on Etsy and eBay. They are second-hand kimono. Very few of the kimono I own are actually brand new. I think I have a few that are like they're vintage, but they were never worn. They were just stored. So they're in excellent condition or very, very minor signs of wear or tear with them. But I think I only have a few of those. But most of them have been worn a couple of times, but are in excellent condition. It's important to check when you're looking at kimono, like images, see if there's any kind of stains or damage to the kimono. Check the description, obviously. There's different grades for kimono. S rank being the best, so that's like pretty much immaculate. A is like near mint. B is like there's some signs of wear and tear, and C and lower is, you start having more damage to the kimono. I generally don't go anything less than A for my kimono, but I have a few kimono I've made exceptions for that are more like a B to B plus rank, because they were designs I really, really liked, and the damage was very, very minor, or it was like in the middle part where it would be folded over and you won't see it. So I didn't worry about stuff like that. But when it comes to stains and damage on kimono, it's not uncommon, especially with vintage pieces. And oftentimes a lot of it is very, very minor, and nobody's going to notice it unless somebody points it out, which they're probably not going to. It's very unlikely. But there's also a lot of people, and I actually learned about this from one of my other followers that I follow as well, who's also a kimono enthusiast. She had mentioned there's also a lot of people that actually get kind of excited about some of the wear and tear on vintage kimono, because it kind of gives you a little bit of history and makes you feel somehow connected in a way to the previous owner who may have worn that kimono. So I totally get that. It's kind of cool to have a history thing with it, because with all my kimono, I don't know whoever wore them before me. So everyone I get, I always wonder. I wonder what occasion this was worn for. I wonder who wore this. I wonder if they were excited or happy wearing it. It's just so many things I wonder. But anyway, that's a little off topic. But yes, I get my kimono on eBay and Etsy. Just make sure to check the description and the photos for any kind of damage. Same thing with obi, obiage, and obijime. I get a lot of that on eBay and Etsy as well. Same thing applies with checking for the description and images to see if there's any kind of damage. To prevent damage on my obi, I actually, when I do the otaiko style knot, I do it more like you kind of fold things over. There's a step, and I will have to do a video about showing how to tie obi at some point in time, I will. But there's a step where in the back, sometimes you see people sort of like tie and pull. I don't like to do that because it can damage the obi over time, especially when it's got lots of little detailed like threads and fibers in there. So I tend to just fold things the other way and sort of just tie it tighter in terms of looping it around, not actually tying it in a knot. So that can damage the obi. So, you know, it's something to keep in mind and look out for when you're looking to purchase obi. Same thing with kanzashi as well. I've bought most of mine from sellers on eBay and Etsy. I have a few favorite sellers that I go to a lot. But I have bought a couple of pieces on private websites as well. Some of them from different countries, it just depends. But yes, most of what I get is on eBay and Etsy, so that's highly where I recommend to start if you're wanting to get into geisha henshin, or if you're wanting to get into like kimono or kitsuke as well. Just keep in mind about, you know, a lot of these items are vintage, so there may be some minor signs of wear and tear, but if that doesn't bother you, there's a lot of really, really amazing things that you can find on there, and a lot of hard to find items you wouldn't find anywhere else. So highly recommend eBay and Etsy if you haven't already to look for henshin material if you're wanting to get started in henshin. But if you have any other questions about where I get my pieces or what kind of things you need to get started with henshin, just comment below and I will answer those questions for you. Also, with the makeup, which I've gone over in previous videos, that is actually all costume grade makeup that I buy here on Amazon in the States. And you'll see in a previous video I talk about it with the products I use. It's mostly a lot of Marin products, as well as just drugstore eyeliner, mascara, you know, lipstick, these sort of things. But most of the face paint and everything else, the powder, those are going to be Marin products. So very, very easy and inexpensive. Compared to the Shiro Nuri makeup, which it can be a little pricey and also takes longer to get here since you have to ship it. So also to keep in mind, that's where I get my makeup from. But again, like I said, if you have any comments, let me know below. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care. Arigatou gozaimasu.